The question that we ask ourselves is, how do we increase our critical awareness of how we are relating to our own state, and what is it that is supportive for that state? Do we wish to turn it up, turn it down, moderate it, activate it, bring aliveness to it? There are so many different routes we can take and pathways we can explore in order to meet ourselves. Often we speak about the somatic layer of the body being the lived, felt experience that exists beneath thought. It's the body's direct language. It's the way that our memories, our stress, our sensations, our impulses, our patterns of tension and release come up, and how we are in relation to our nervous systems and the state of our nervous systems. When the somatic system tips into, for example, a hyper-aroused state, hyperarouse, it is as if the volume dial on the body has been turned up too high. Sensations can feel really overwhelming and urges can feel uncontainable. The nervous system can struggle to settle. This often happens when the body is carrying unresolved stress, potentially trauma, and of course it is inherently linked to the other systems as well. And so if in hyperarousal, instead of guiding us, our felt sense may start to dominate us, leaving a restlessness or an overstimulation. So rather than fighting intensity when we are aware of a hyper-aroused system, we will meet it gently, giving the soma a pathway back towards slightly more moderation or slightly turning the dial down. And that's what we'll practice together now. With these practices, I'll invite you to first explore the full expression of where you are, and then slowly tune yourself back or moderate, turning the dial down. So I want to invite you either to stand up, or you can stay seated for this practice, depending on what feels best for your body. Let's bring one hand to the belly and one hand to the chest and close the eyes here, taking a moment first to assess where we are. Grounding. And we'll just take 3 breaths before we begin. Possibly connecting to the parts of your body, your felt sense, that do feel activated or agitated, where there is an experience of hyperarousal. And we are going to, either sitting or standing, just begin to flick the wrists. Just begin to reach them up and flick them out. And so there's no one way to do this, but what we are doing is imagine that we are almost allowing energy to shift out of the palms and the whole hand, and the heels might just begin to tap up and down. So we're in this gentle pulsing. And this is one option for the standing. And so this might be for someone who isn't sensing a very strong hyperarousal in the system, but where there is still some agitation. I invite you just to begin to soften the knees. And the other option here, as well as flicking through the hands and bending through the knees, is actually to inhale with the arms going up to the sky, and then almost in a percussive motion, like you're banging down on a drum, exhale down to the earth. Inhale, we look up towards the hands. And so stay with either practice here, either with the flicking of the wrists or the percussive breath, and the body folding, reaching up. I'll just let you choose where you want to stay for about another 10 seconds or so. There might be another little shake or percussive movement that comes into the body intuitively, and let yourself go there if that's what comes. And then after the next breath, just pause for a moment, opening the palms out, and just taking 3 deep grounding breaths as we did at the beginning. And just noticing where you are. And if it's comfortable, you can keep the eyes closed. And just letting the energy settle. One invitation when meeting a hyper-aroused system is to begin to notice our center. Can we gather the energy slightly towards our center from a place where it has maybe been overstimulated or sporadic and scattered? And so let's go again. We'll do at least one more round here together. And so again, you can choose to sit down and do this movement with the flicking of the wrist. You can choose to stand up, meet yourself at the energy that you are at, and get curious about what feels best in your body. So I'll do it with you. And let the breath be however it wants to be. Soften through the knees. And just flicking through the wrists. And pulsating through the heels. We'll be here for 90 seconds together. You may choose to bring the arms up and down in that percussive breath. Any sound or stronger breath that wants to come that feels supportive, please feel free to welcome it. Meeting your system. Just another 30 seconds here. Finding a pace that feels good, knowing that it can shift and change. Maybe the depth of the breath shifts. I'm just taking about 3 more rounds of breath here. Staying with it, staying present. And then as you're ready, coming back and just pausing wherever you are, standing or seated, and noticing the texture of the system, the nervous system, the state of felt sense. Inviting 3 of your deepest breaths today. And then bring the hands, one belly and one on heart. And just see what it feels like to be in the space between. Notice any shifts, any changes. And then if you're standing, you can come back to your seat. And so there's an opportunity after any practice just to reflect and define how this relates to your own state. What shifted, what came alive, where was the volume turned up, down, how did we meet ourselves, knowing that there's no right way to experience this. This is a practice to get aware of what is the distribution within our system. How much energy is there in our somatic system? Is it more on the hyper or the hyper-aroused state? And if we wanted to, what would be useful for us to turn up or down that dial?